All right, joining us now, she was a West Coast Conference All Performer last year, hitting 321, leading BYU to a postseason berth. Of course, started her college career at UCF, now finishing up at BYU. Somebody I know quite well. I speak of Maddie Bejarano joining us here. Long time no see. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am doing good. What's it like? This is your last year. You've had a unique career, which we'll get into, but how does it feel here going into your last year with a veteran group? You're not the only one. There's a veteran group you're surrounded with that you've gotten to know here at BYU.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to become real for sure. I'm definitely feeling I feel like last year, knowing that that could have been my senior year after if COVID didn't happen and everything, I kind of got a realization like, wow, like it's starting to happen. And I mean, it still hasn't hit quite yet, but finishing up the fall, I was like, wow, like that's my last fall season ever. So it's starting to definitely hit home. Definitely starting to feel some emotions with that. But I'm excited. We have a great group of girls. Like you said, we have a bunch of veterans on the team that have been in big time games that help us out and are able to carry the team. It's amazing, like to just see all of it click together like that. So I'm excited though.
As players, are you excited? I mean, this is the first year of the program in the Big 12. So already this group will be remembered as the first ever Big 12 team in BYU history. That's got to
Oh,
be a little extra motivation and exciting from a group, right?
oh, absolutely. Like we want to start it off with a bang. We're not just coming around to just play some softball. Like we want to make a name for ourselves and make it shown that we belong in the Big 12 and it's not just a fluke or anything. Like we're here to compete. We're here to play against the best and compete with the best at that. Like it's not, we're just not going to take this season lightly just because it is our first season in the Big 12. Like we're coming in strong and we're ready to handle some business. So
Tell me about your year last year when you reflect on your season personally. You played, obviously, got to start a lot, played, hit in a great year, hit 321. It was all conferences, as I mentioned. When you reflect on last year, what comes to mind and what are some things you're hoping to improve on here in your final year?
I think as a team, we could definitely finish better. I think there was some games that we didn't have the strongest finish, and that's where we kind of get ourselves in trouble. But I think after season not ending the way that we wanted to and wished and hoped for, girls have a little chip on their shoulder. They're not, we don't want that to happen again. We don't want to be left out of the tournament again. And I think that having that chip is going to help us going into the Big 12 and just into the season in general. I know for a fact that our senior class, we're not ending the way that we ended last year. We're not having a second year like that in a row. So I know when we come out this season, like it's going to be all business. So,
Talk about their fellow seniors, what they bring to the table and that leadership. Who are the leaders, either vocally or by example?
well, for the most part, our three captains are myself, Hunter Ava, and then Violet Zavodnik. And then obviously we have other seniors with that. And there's just so much experience that come with having seniors like ourselves. I've played in some of the biggest games. I've made it to super regional. And then you have Violet Zavodnik, who is a phenomenal outfielder, phenomenal captain. And then Hunter Ava, who just made, I'm pretty sure today just got released. She made the all Big
Big 12, yeah.
12 team. So just having that on your side and knowing that, like, they just bring so much to this team. And I know we still have a bunch of young girls on our team. And to have that to kind of set the standard for following years to come, it's amazing. Like we're setting the standard for what's to come for the Big 12 and BYU.
You also have the Agbayani sisters on the
Mm-hmm.
team. Because Court
Yes.
reminded me, they're like, he's like, we got two of them. They're not past present. What have they been like? One obviously transfer from Cal, then you obviously got the youngster. I mean, what has that combo been like?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I've never played with a set of sisters before, so it's definitely interesting to see how they work out together. And it's amazing because they just push each other so hard. And you can definitely see the love that they show each other and give each other off. Um, Being able to play with them is really great. I mean, I Alea is like came from Cal and everything, and so she has her own experience from being in the Pac-12, which is great for us going into the Big 12. And then Ilana is just a phenomenal shortstop. Like she's just crazy good. And then just being able to see those two click on the field and like showing the love and everything that they have for each other on the field being reciprocated is great.
No doubt. Of course, great family background when it comes to athletics. Obviously, with her
Oh
father,
yeah.
Benny, playing baseball, Major League Baseball. How often had he gone to games there? And did anybody try to get his autograph?
He's definitely made it. They're big family people for sure, and you can see the love that their family has. They have a younger brother too, and I'm pretty sure their mom played softball and everything, and you can just see how
Yep.
much of how family oriented they are. So they came out, I mean, from Hawaii and being at games in the West Coast, it's crazy. And so I know that those two are really, along with Kayla, that are all from Hawaii. They're all excited to go and represent and play in Hawaii for our first weekend out. So
Well, you didn't play with a sister, but you played with a cousin. So you can relate.
yes,
Being a family with
yeah,
Haley there, what was it, 1 year at UCF you played
I
together?
think
Two?
2 years if
All
you
right.
want to count COVID too. Yeah,
Okay, no, that's why the math is trick gets a little fuzzy there.
yeah,
But
it
what
gets
so
all confusing.
but you can relate to that. What is it like to play with a family member at a Division I level? You did that at UCF, and now the Yakbayanis get to do that here at BYU.
It's great. It's a great experience. That's somebody that you grow up with them, you know them like the back of your hand, and to have somebody like that that knows you almost inside out is great. And it can kind of be like they're able to like knock you out of flunks and everything and be like, dude, like, come on, pick it up. And it's somebody that can talk to you in those ways because you've known them your entire life. I loved playing with Haley. It was a great experience. It's something that like we'll be able to tell our kids and everything. Like, who can say that they were able to go play Division I softball with their cousins and stuff like that, or let alone their sisters. I think it's amazing.
What got you interested in playing softball?
Well, growing up, I played all kinds of sports. I did soccer, karate for a long time, boxing, you name it. Then I had cousins. I had a cousin, her name's Shelby. She played softball as well. And Haley obviously played softball. And then I just like kind of want to try it out. Put the karate to the side. And first time I stepped on a field, I mean, I was horrible up until I got probably into seventh, eighth grade. Like I could barely pay catch or anything. And I just had this feeling and loved every single second of it, loved going to practice. And now I'm here getting to live out those dreams and goals that I set for myself at such a young age that I didn't think were possible. And now I'm here being able to live them out and being able to play at a Power 5 school now. It's just amazing.
You committed to UCF, and I believe you committed to play for Coach Renee Gillespie. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I committed to her my freshman year of high school.
I bring that up because there was a moment last year at the NIC championship game. It's Iowa and BYU, and I'm following this. And it was a wacky game, back and forth. And you're at the plate late in that game, and you nail a big 3-run homer to give BYU the lead. You had made a great comeback to take the lead at the time. Didn't work out at the end. They came back. It was a dramatic game. But I was following this and watching this, and my mind was blown because I'm like, oh my goodness, you're facing Coach Gillespie here. I'll talk about a full circle moment.
Yeah.
And you made her pay with a home run. I remember I spoke to Coach Gillespie in the fall, like, why did you pitch to her? You should have known better. He's like, you're probably right. What was that like for you? Unique, because you knew Coach Gillespie for a long time, and here you are, full circle. You're playing them in a championship game.
Oh, I was so excited. I was hoping that we were going to be able to play them. And of course, like you had Kalena there where I was committed to UCF with Kalena. And it was just so amazing because, I always hoped and wished that I was able to be on the field with Coach Gillespie, but to have her even as an opposer, it was great. I ended up getting injured after I hit that home run. I stepped on home plate a little bit too hard, so I had to get pulled out the game. Yeah, I had like stress fractures all on my knee from celebrating too hard. So I had to take
Maddie, I did not know
yeah,
this.
yeah, I wasn't able, like, as soon as I hit that home run, I stomped on home plate and it all went downhill from there. And it wasn't, they thought I tore my ACL and I was freaking out and got home, went to the doctor, and it was just a bunch of stress fractures, which was good. So it sucked having to sit on the sidelines for that, but it was so great to see Coach Gillespie. Like I said, I was committed to her my freshman year of high school, and I've been through so much with her just through that recruiting process. And, I have a spot for her in my heart because she did give me this chance to go play Division I softball. And it was great to like reconnect with her and talk to her, and her to be telling me how proud she is of me and everything that I've accomplished. It was great.
Oh, that's a great story, except for the injury part. Please
Yeah,
be.
I know. I am like, oh my gosh, I need to like, I mean, you've seen my celebrations. They get a little crazy sometimes. And I'm like, no more stomping. I'm like, just fist pumping is good for me from now on.
Thankfully, you're healthy, but have you been teased?
Yes.
Did you get some teasing after the fact?
Oh,
After,
absolutely.
oh,
I
okay.
still hear from it. I'm like, as athletic as I am, I'm still the clumsiest person. Like the past 2 days, I've been slipping on ice left and right, and never thought I would be one to be slipping on ice, but here I am. And Coach Eakins over here telling me that I need to do an old man's shuffle on my way to classes and everything, so that my hips don't keep getting locked up. And I'm like, well, I am a fifth year and I'm 23 years old. The body's getting a little beat up.
Listen, it's not going to get better, just from experience. It's just joy.
Yeah.
This is your peak. Um, so obviously, Coach Gillespie left UCF after the 2018 season to go back home, really her home state, Iowa, to take over the Iowa program. Cindy Ball Malone comes to take over the UCF program. You stayed. Uh, why did you stay UCF, and what was that like? You ended up playing for Coach Ball Malone, and obviously we'll get to the 2022 magical season. But you had a good run there. But what was that experience like with the coaching change?
It was hard. I mean, it was very intimidating. I mean, Coach Gillespie offered me to go to Iowa, but Iowa is just not somewhere that I could see myself personally. Uh, yeah, so I was committed for my freshman year to to BYU to UCF, and I was really bleeding black and gold at that time. I was so for it. I was so excited. I didn't want to take the chance of opening my recruitment back up because I didn't know what I could get. And thankfully, Coach Bear honored my scholarship and everything, and I was able to stay at UCF and live out those dreams over there and live for something that I've been looking forward to since I was 14, 15 years old. I went on my first visit to UCF in eighth grade.
Wow.
So I was like really ready for it, and I didn't really want to go anywhere else. I knew that I would have a great experience there, and I did. And I'm glad I went there. I don't have any regrets of going and staying there at all. So it was just unfortunate, but I mean, I still
Yeah.
had a great experience at the same time.
Yeah, you had a great run. You really hit it off with Coach Ball Malone because you were like her personal hairdresser
Yeah, I was.
right. I don't know if she's replaced you either. I don't know. I haven't asked. But describe, you mentioned you described your time at UCF. Obviously, we first go to 2022. That was a magical season. But I want to
Yeah.
take you back to early that year. It was the second game of the year. You hit a home run against Minnesota. That was your first collegiate home run. And I remember we did a post game, and you paid tribute that home run to your brother Tanner. Now, for those that may not be aware, tell the story of your brother Tanner, because that's a big part of the reason you ended up at BYU, to be closer to him and the family. But just tell the story for those that are not aware.
Well, first of all, this is my favorite topic to speak on in any interview that I do. I Some interviewers don't even ask me about it because they don't know, and I will find somehow, some way to bring him up in it. It's my favorite subject. But Tanner is my younger brother. He's 20 years old. He has Down syndrome. Is the best human being you'll ever meet. He's my true support system. The reason why I do everything. My goal is in life, and I think my purpose on this earth is to give him everything and let him live these moments through me. It's been incredible journey that I've had. He was there for my first home run, and he lives vicariously through me, and it's amazing that I'm able to represent him at such a big stage. And now going into a Power 5 school where the stage is even bigger, it's amazing, and I get to share his story even more. It's great. And now this year, I'm so excited. We have another teammate on the team. She has a younger sister with Down syndrome, and uh, I think it's March 31st is World Down Syndrome Day, and we're gonna have a Down syndrome awareness game theme. I'm not sure who we're playing, but it is so excited. I don't personally ever know of a team that's had a Down syndrome themed game, and both of our siblings are going to go out there and pitch the first pitch. So if there's one game you are at, if you ever ask what's my favorite game I'm looking forward to, it's that one right there, to have a community and represent a community and bring awareness to it. It's going to be so amazing. It's so awesome.
I'm assuming you're catching Tanner that day.
Oh, absolutely. Come on now.
I'm curious what he throws there. But I remember you, because I didn't know about it until you brought it up. Like, you caught me off
Mhm.
guard. Good
Yeah.
job by you when you mentioned that. And, that was obviously a situation. I brought it up during the broadcast, but, you don't want to intrude too much on it, the deal. But, that became a big story in 2022 because obviously
Mhm.
UCF would win a regional, go to Norman, and the big thing was getting him to go to Norman. And I know Knight fans kind of rallied around that. You got him. You were able to get him to go there. I think you had an NIL deal. Explain that because that became a big story during that run that year.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. I will forever and ever be grateful to Night Nation for that, for doing all that they did for my family and for Tanner at that. It was so amazing. But what got it started all, during one of the interviews, they asked me if I was thinking of Tanner, and I was like, of course I was. Like, that is my reason why I do everything and anything. And they posted on Twitter, and I jokingly like didn't think anything of it. I said somebody needs to get him out here for the championship game, and I wasn't even thinking about it like that it would even be caught for something. And I should have known better to know that Night Nation would have my back on that and kind of just figure something out to find a way to get him there. It unfortunately didn't work out because the game was the next day, of course, and Jan and Britt are huge support systems in the UCF community, and they knew my story, and so we had a connection because of that. They'd come out to the games,
Yep.
and it was amazing. And to have that type of connection because of Down syndrome is just so amazing. I love talking to people who have siblings that have Down syndrome. I've met athletes here at BYU to make that connection, and I'm always trying to make that connection. And Jan and Britt really got the ball rolling for us. And my family, we really didn't need the money to get him out to Norman. So we just ended up donating that money back to Jan and Britt for her foundation that she has, because they needed more than us and everything to help support them and what they got going on. But the Sons of UCF are who really helped out to get me an NIL deal for their podcast. And so I was able to be featured on their podcast and everything. And it was great. It was just so unique. And to know that there's so much kindness and love in this world is just so refreshing. I feel like we can oftentimes get caught up in the negatives that have happened in the day-to-day life, but it's so much bigger. And there's just so much more to life than just the little negative things that happen.
Yeah, I think nobody will ever forget that footage. I think it was after one of the games where you saw him and you had a big embrace and hug. It was very emotional
Yeah, it
moment.
was.
And it became a national story, and that was pretty awesome. How's he doing? How's he
Oh, he's
liking?
amazing.
How's he liking Provo there?
Oh, he loves it here. He runs things here when he comes out. Every time he comes out, the coaches make sure they get him a dozen donuts. So he lives like a king when he's out here. He's made it known that he wants to only sit in the press box when he comes to the games. He's best buds with all the head coaches, and I'm so grateful for our coaches. Every single one of our coaches on the coaching staff have taken him in, loved him as if he was one of the players. It's incredible, and it's so unique, and to see and to feel how much love that these coaches truly give off.
What message would you want to give out? Because there's people watching probably or listening that have a family member that maybe has Down syndrome. What message would you like to give out there? Somebody obviously to public, because it's always great to make people aware, right? Because a lot of people wonder if they're doing this on their own, and when people like you openly talk about it, I think it gives a lot of inspiration for people that are going through even similar health situations.
I think the one thing I've learned from Tanner is just to be positive and open minded and just to give as much love as you can to anyone. He is not a judgmental person. He doesn't care where you come from, who you are. He's still gonna love you as much as he can. You're gonna be his best friend even if you met him 20 minutes ago. He's gonna love you and care for you. And despite anything that's going on in his life, he wakes up every single morning with the biggest smile on his face. It doesn't matter if he's sitting in a hospital bed with IVs all in him, he's still going to have this light about him. And I think it's so inspiring because, like I said, it's easy to get wrapped up in just the little negative things in life. And there's a bigger picture, there's more to life than just the little negative things. And to really hone in on those positives and know that you're here for a purpose, and there's more to life than just the little negatives. Like there's so much love and kindness to spread.
Well said, and thank you for sharing that. I think that's very positive message to send out there. Of course, you mentioned you went to that super regional, but that super regional probably doesn't happen without your bat. Because I'm going to go back to that Michigan regional. Winner's bracket game on a Saturday. Your number gets called. It's bottom of the seventh. Knight's down one. You're at the plate. Try and run on scoring position. You drill the double to tie that game up, extend the game to 2-2. 4 innings later, in the bottom of the 11th, you're at the plate again, and you drill the double, this time a walk-off, to win the game. I still remember that footage. You got your hands up. You're celebrating there. Take me through that day, because that was a historic day for the program, a historic day for you. Those are two hits that softball fans and Knight fans will never forget about you. So take me through that day, that game.
It was amazing, obviously. I mean, we were both there. Speaking of us both being there, probably one of the hottest games I've ever played on in my life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was insanely hot, and I think that also plays into a factor and kind of gave us an advantage at that for having girls coming from Michigan and everything. But one of the greatest games. I will forever remember that game, and to be able to pull something off like that is just like, it's one thing to tie up the game, but to walk it off at the same time is just so insane to me. And I'm like, still think about it. I'm like, that was crazy. Like, that's something so crazy that I did. And it still sometimes just doesn't feel real. And I'm glad that I was able to clutch up for the team and everything and to help take us to a super regional. Those will probably go down in my career as the best two hits of my career, and I'm not mad about it at all. If that's what I can be remembered of for my softball career, that's totally fine with me. I'll be a two-hit wonder. I don't care. That was like the best day of my life for my softball career. So it was great.
I don't think you're a two-hit wonder.
I don't think so either, but I'm just saying, if it were to just be those two hits that I'm remembered for, that's totally fine.
But how much did that game maybe give you confidence moving forward to what you did last year? Because you had your best year to date in your career last year, hitting over 320, big producer. How much did that game? You always played with confidence, but I would imagine after a game like that, coming up big like that, because even when I talked to Coach Eakin, he talked about how your clutchness, you have that clutch, that something positive is going to happen with the game on the line and you're at the plate. Did that help you kind of have the success you've had last season and you're hoping to carry into this year?
Oh, for sure. I went from not being an everyday starter to starting every single game at BYU. Like, having those two hits kind of put a chip on my shoulder. Like, I know I was made to be at this stage. Like, nothing was ever a fluke. I was made to be an everyday starter. I was made for these big moments. And when I transferred, I knew what I was capable of. I just proved to myself what I was capable of. I knew that from the get-go from my freshman year. And then somebody took the chance on me to give me more opportunities and to make me an everyday starter. And I was able to live through those. And it really gave me a lot of confidence coming into BYU that, like, I have it in me to make an impact on a team. It doesn't matter what stage I'm on. Like, I know I can make a great impact and be clutch in these big situations.
You obviously, after the 2022 season, made a difficult decision to move on, to be closer with the Tanner and the family. That was a big thing, which is one thing, because now you're I wouldn't say limited, but there's only specific places you probably were interested in going because your family's out west. All right, when you make that. So take me through that process. What was that like, and eventually ending up at BYU?
It was so hard to leave there, first and foremost. I had a life out there. My entire life was out in Florida, and then to pack everything up into my Nissan Juke and drive across the country with my dad, it was so hard. And to say goodbye to, like, my best friends. I mean, I still talk to those girls every single day. They're truly like lifelong best friends, and I have so much love and care for them. I support them in everything they do. I love watching their games, to watch them succeed in everything. It was not an easy decision. Nobody ever wants to transfer. I know that. I never wanted to transfer. That's why I ended up staying 3 years. I think BYU or UCF is a huge part of me, and it's not anything that I shy away from. I'm proud that I went there. I'm proud of everything that I've done there. So leaving was super hard. I had my whole entire life out there, but my family means so much more to me. I didn't like not being close to my family. Now I'm an 8-hour ride from home. I can jump in a car whenever I want, or I can jump in a plane for 45 minutes and be at my parents' house. So family just meant a lot more to me. And I wanted to be somewhere where I could not only thrive academically and athletically, but somewhere where I can thrive with my family right behind me. My family, it was insane. My parents were able to go to almost every single home series. And if we weren't at home, we were in Northern California, and I have so much family in Northern California. I had games that I think the only series I didn't have family was at the LSU tournament. And
Wow.
that's something I wanted. And I got that. And it's amazing to have my entire support system there with me and living through these moments with me.
Describe being in Provo, Utah, and describe playing for Coach Eakin.
Oh, I love it here. I'll be the first person to say I'm not trying to leave Provo, Utah anytime soon. You know, it was a big weather wise and culture wise, it was a complete 180 for me. I knew about the LDS faith. I didn't know too much about it, so I was very timid when committing here. I wasn't 100% on board until I stepped on campus. This was the only visit I took too. I had other schools looking at me, and I kind of went into it. I was like, I'm taking all 5 of my visits. I'm going to be cautious about where I'm going. And as soon as I stepped on campus, that just got thrown out the window. Coach Eakin always makes fun of me. I was halfway through my visit and I was like, I don't know what papers I got to sign, but I'm coming here. And I don't have any plans to leave here anytime soon. I'm planning on getting my master's here to be a GA. Coach Eakin's not getting rid of me this soon. I can tell you that right now. And he's like, you can stay as long as you want. I said, be careful what you ask for, because I might just end up staying here forever. I love everything about it. I have so much respect for the LDS faith. I've learned so much about myself and my own faith personally. It's brought me closer to my faith. And I love every single second of it. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just such a great and refreshing aspect and environment to hear. It's really truly special, and it's so great to be able to see people so proud of their faith and to wear their faith publicly and not being ashamed of it by any means. And it's just amazing. And I feel like it's almost a little bit strange to outside schools and outside environments, but once you're in it, I've completely bought into it. I love being able to pray before every single practice, before every single dinner with my teammates surrounding me and with our coaches, and even taking the time as an entire fan base and teams to be able to pray before a game and knowing that it's so much bigger than a game. Like, that's one thing that Coach Eakin stresses for us. It's more than softball. It's not, you guys are here for so much more than just playing softball. You guys get to play softball, and it's a blessing. And it's amazing. I've loved every single second of it. I always tell people, they'll be like, well, why did you go there? Like, you're not LDS. And like, you wouldn't understand at the same time if you weren't here. It's something special to this place. And that's one thing, like, I've always, with recruits that are not of the LDS faith, I'm like, don't be timid about it. It's such an amazing place here. You're going to be welcomed. You're going to be loved and accepted for who you are. It's amazing.
I could tell. I could tell in your voice. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Excited. What do you know what you want to do post softball?
I would like to, so the plans are kind of right now to play professionally. Like I said, last year I got very exposed that this could have been my last year. And after that, I was just like, I'm not ready to hang it up anytime soon. So I'm in the works with Team Mexico as of right now. We're waiting for my Mexican passport to come in so that I can officially be on Team Mexico's team. And they just started a pro league in Mexico. So there's works for all of this for me to play beyond college softball right now. So that's what is in the books right now as of right now.
It's pretty good. Well, you still got some softball this year.
Yeah.
Looking at the schedule, ironically, you get to go back to Norman. BYU play at Oklahoma. You open your home Big 12, the first series against Texas Tech. I'm looking here. There's an April trip here, Orlando, UCF. You familiar with that campus trip there?
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
What is that going to be like? Coach Eakin say he's going to lean on you to be the tour person. But what is that going to be like as you come back to Orlando? Because it'll be the first time you've been back. and you get to the Plex, and you're going to see a lot of familiar faces and friends on the opposite side, but you're going to see a lot of friends. They're going to say hello to you. Have you thought about what that week will be like for you?
Oh, absolutely, I have. I've been thinking about it since we got our schedule. Once I saw that we were going to Orlando, I was so happy to be able to play on the field that I'm basically ending my career on the field that I started my career. And to go back out there and to be wearing the BYU jersey is so amazing. I never thought that that would have happened. I'm glad that I'm here at BYU. I love it here, like I was just saying. But to be able to be back on the field with some of my best friends and be reunited with them, I'm so excited. And I have so many great memories over in Orlando. I talk to some of the girls every single day. They're truly like my lifetime best friends. So I'm excited. I I didn't think I would when I transferred to BYU, I didn't think I would be finishing my softball career back at Orlando when I hit the transfer portal, but here we are going full circle and I'm excited about it. I'm excited to show them what I have, what I've become since I left there, because I think I've became an entirely different person. I think it'll be neat for them to see who I've become and what I've made myself of since coming to BYU. So I'm excited. I'm just excited to see what the outcome is for those games and to just be reunited with everybody.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people looking forward to seeing you. A lot of people, I've heard it's going to be a pretty good crowds there. I mean, it's interesting. BYU, UCF have already played in a lot of different sports. I know you've gotten hooked on the other sports. BYU basketball, having a great season recently. Played at Orlando's packed. They played in volleyball. It was packed. So I have a feeling it's going to be packed. That seems to be the trend, and
Yeah,
rightfully so.
it's super funny because like all the athletes really know each other here, and if UCF gets beat by BYU in any sport, I got friends texting me like, "That one was for you. We got you," and I was
That's
like, "Thanks."
hilarious. You're hearing it from both sides. Last thing
Yeah.
before we let you go. What's going to be the keys from your group to accomplish your internal goals as you get into the season? You mentioned open in Hawaii. We've talked about the Big 12 schedule. You got a good, challenging non-conference schedule. I mean, it's a historic year. So there's probably going to be more eyeballs on BYU softball, Brigham Young, than ever before. Just because, hey, this is the Big 12, arguably the best conference in college softball. What do you
Mhm.
think are some of the keys, and what are you looking forward to?
I think just to be present in the moment and not to make the game bigger than it actually is. I mean, we're in a different conference, but it's still the same game we've been playing since we were younger. I think playing better competition can definitely make girls worried and nervous and being on the same stage as some of these athletes that you've looked up to almost. So just not making it bigger. We've all played the game. All of us girls have been playing the same game since we were, for me, since I was 7 years old, and to just not make it bigger than what it is. It's a bigger stage, and that's great. Want the bigger stage, want those big moments. They're not going to be easy games to just slide through. I'm not saying at all that BYU is just going to go through here and run through everybody. I know it's going to be a challenge. We're up for the challenge. I know that we talk about it every single day. We're not going to look ahead on our schedule. We're going to be in the moment, present, and whoever's on that field is who we're going after.
That is senior outfielder, captain Maddie Bejarano, BYU, joining us here under the circle. It's good to catch up with you. I've wanted to do this for a while, but you got a busy life. You got I mean, I know your academic schedule is out of this world. I don't know how you keep up with your schedule, but thank you for taking the time to talk to me and telling your story. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, to tell your story, not just about your career, but obviously of Tanner and Down syndrome. I think it's an important thing to kind of spread the word on that, and you've done a great job doing that. You're an amazing sister to him, and you're an amazing softball player. And I look forward to seeing you this year playing. And but thanks for doing this.
No, thank you. It was great to catch up, and thank you for letting me share my story and letting me talk about Tanner. I know you love hearing it just as much as I like talking about it, so it's great, and I'm so glad to hear that I was going to be able to come up on here with you and catch up.